VUU, we're here with Dwight Thanos Smith, the founder and chief visionary officer of Paragon Universe and a partner with VUU in creating a center for tech and innovation. So let's talk about that a little bit, Thanos. So what are your thoughts and the vision that's driving this partnership for this center?
Oh, it means the world to me. VUU was my first partner with our electric vehicle division. And I say that with some of the greatest humility. Oftentimes you look at the Black community, we are often perceived as consumers and not innovators. You look at what's going on, for example, in the VTOL sector. We're building an airline. We're not building a VTOL, we're actually building an airline. Companies in this sector are all building the airlines of the future. And I'm probably, to my knowledge, as far as the heavy cargo, VTOL, etc., I'm probably the only Black guy in the world doing this, which is crazy. And VUU jumped in and said, under your leadership, because you and I were talking on Saturday, you were like, what in the world are you talking about? Tell me, I gotta know, man, gotta tell me. And literally I was like, yeah, he said, man, I don't know what you said, but we need to keep this discussion rolling.
Yes.
We are building the largest airline the world has ever seen, and the support system, the largest infrastructure support system unlike the world's ever seen, not as a Black company and a Black partnership with an HBCU, but in business. And so VUU, you guys have had the foresight to be on the cutting edge. The reason why I chose the cars that are neighborhood friendly, local community cars, is I don't believe that highways are the future. I strongly disagree. What would you give if you're on your deathbed, which we all are going to get there one day? What would you give to get back 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, an hour, a day, a week of your time? What would you trade to get that back from when you wasted it sitting in traffic? When Dwight Eisenhower came up with the highways in the 1950s, it was to be able to get us from neighborhood to neighborhood, city to city, state to state, at a faster rate, based upon the speed limits, etc., long distance, gas stations, your performance of your car, whatever. We're at a precipice right now where we need to get more into the 21st century to the 22nd century. The things that this innovation center will be doing at VUU is identifying all the opportunities that are going to exist to increase mobility for the 21st century. However, do it as a sustainable infrastructure ecosystem while eliminating or reducing the carbon footprint. Those are some big tasks. But we're built for that. Our company is built for that. Our cars have zero carbon footprint. Some of the technology in the cars, they look simple on the surface, but it's actually designed with things in mind from the future, such as some of the cars have the ability to melt ice by the push of a button on the door handles, keep the battery warm. EV batteries, if you look at what happened in Chicago a few weeks ago, the EV charging stations, they were not working. It got so cold that nothing was happening. That's a problem. The technology in the NV1, and some of the NV1s, what we did was we wrapped it with a thin layer of like a coated or a painted material. And by the push of a button, that thing can warm up a battery and keep it warm so it never loses its power. When weather gets cold, electric cars, they don't drive very far because it's too cold outside, they start to discharge. The EV batteries, a lot of the batteries are made of lithium, manganese, cobalt, a whole bunch of other stuff. Well, lithium refinery it's a nasty process. People talk about fracking. Lithium is pretty harsh on the environment too, and to dispose of it is very nasty stuff. More than the majority of the batteries out there that are on the EVs, they come from the resources produced in China. We talk about China all the time, but we're heavily dependent on them. We're pushing an EV mandate, but we're going right back to the source. So the oil and gas industry has been working on ways to refine lithium here in the United States. So that's what they're doing. However, cobalt is also used for these electric batteries. But cobalt, by and large, comes from the Congo in Africa. They got little kids as young as 6 years old dying trying to dig for cobalt in these mines. This is supposed to be illegal, but it's in Africa and it's not being constantly monitored because people need to pay their bills. So our company, what I did was I wanted to make sure that we don't follow along those paths. So we have lithium batteries in our first gen car, but we're phasing it out because we finally figured out how to make a solid state battery that doesn't use lithium nor cobalt. And this entrepreneurship and innovation center allows us the ability to take that technology and prove things out before you see it on the roads for the general public. So VUU is at the forefront of innovation when it comes to things that we're going to need as infrastructure. The battery industry alone, that's $1 trillion industry, or even beyond that. And the things that we're developing are way in line with that. If you look at your average electric vehicle, some of the fastest ones can charge about 80% when you pull up at a supercharger in about 25 to 30 minutes. Our batteries can recharge in less than 10 minutes. So significantly reducing your charge time, it's like filling up your gas tank. And that's really important. When you look at the technology we're putting together for the frame of the vehicle, same thing. Our batteries actually are tied to the frame, so the frame becomes a supercapacitor of energy, so you don't need as much battery. The typical EV, you take your electric vehicle out there, it weighs between 430 to 634 pounds, more than a gas-powered vehicle. That means if you got a bunch of these EVs on the road at the same time, it is tearing up the road. So again, the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center, we will develop new roads of the 21st century that will support heavy payloads, melt ice on demand, and oh, by the way, it will wirelessly charge the electric vehicle as you drive on the surface area.